Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm of course back to review our latest match over the weekend against Hull. Obviously I took a bit of a break, obviously, kind of took a few days, off really. Obviously, ideally I would have liked to have got this video out yesterday, but I just wanted to gather my thoughts, obviously, after the weekend. Still pretty much angry from the results, so I wanted to gather my thoughts for an extra 24 hours and having a bit of a break, from the content. But yeah, obviously it's good to be back now, like I say, please smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm at 222 subs now, which is incredible. Like I say, I seem to be gaining one a day, which is amazing. I really appreciate everybody that's supporting me. Like I say, get your thoughts in as well down below. Let me know what you made of this, because literally I have so much to say about this game. It's one of those, and of course I will be getting into it in a bit. Obviously I just wanted to explain. I've been quite inactive on my social media, obviously, and on YouTube for the last few days. So I kind of just took a break and kind of gathered my thoughts as much as I can. And of course, 24 hours have passed since obviously I was meant to upload this video, but and I'm still pretty much angry 24 hours after, so I don't know if that necessarily helped, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to talk about the game yesterday, to be honest with you. So yeah, that is why it's here. But anyway, I'll stop waffling and I'll get into the game. Obviously the lineups, when the lineups came out, I think we were all kind of surprised by this, really. Obviously, with the inclusion of Scott High, obviously, in the middle of the park with Hogg, which obviously he's just come back from his loan spell at Rotherham. I didn't expect him to go straight back into the team, admittedly, to be honest with you. So it was a big surprise to see him back and straight into the lineup. So Matty Pearson came back, back in, first championship start in 10 months. Can you believe? Yeah, 10 months. Amazing to see him back. He played so incredibly well. Like I said, we'll get into it in a bit, but he was incredible. Obviously, he managed to play 67 minutes, a solid 67 minutes, before having to come off, obviously, understandably, because, when you haven't played football in that long, 67 minutes on your first start in 10 months isn't bad going. So, great run out for him, and of course, I expect him to start the weekend, and I think he'll be able to do 90 minutes at the weekend as well. So, he's great. It's brilliant. Big boost for us. Another thing that I kind of took out is, obviously, when I looked obviously on the team and obviously on the bench, he completely, singled out Kamara, which I'm laughing because the post had just come through the door. But anyway, I'll continue. Singling out Kamara is just ridiculous. Not even on the bench. And, it's hardly going to help his confidence. Like I say, he's a young lad, and he was no worse than any of the others in the cup game, obviously, against Preston. So I'm not so sure why the manager decided to just completely single him out, because I don't see the benefit of that. I think when he's been called upon and he's played, he's looked okay. He's looked pretty decent to me. So yeah, I don't agree with this mentality of, if a person, singling out players, and if they don't get up to the so-called level that they should be at, then you just freeze them out the next game. It's not really the sustainable way to go forward. Obviously, we were hoping that Knockout would be, in and around the squad. In fact, I had him to start. I thought he'd be ready to start. Obviously, he wasn't even on the bench for this one. Obviously not match fit, but hopefully he'll be in contention for the weekend game against Blackpool, of course, after a full week of training. So I'm hopeful that he'll be in at the weekend definitely now, because there's no excuses. We haven't got a game midweek. We've got a full week. You've got a full week preparation. You've got to be ready to go. This weekend. So yeah, surprised obviously that he wasn't included. But obviously, if he's not match fit, he's not match fit. But yeah, very very obviously. So obviously, I'll go through the team. Obviously, Bilakapic was in goal, of course, the youngster. Free at the back, even though it was never a free at the back when we play, it seems. But the formation was obviously 3-4-2-1. Free at the back, obviously Lees, Heelick and Pearson. And then obviously wing backs Matt Lawton and Josh Ruffles, with Hogg and Scott High in the middle. Redoni and Holmes just in behind John Rhodes. So that was obviously the starting lineup. So yeah, let's get into the game then. So obviously, I think we, to be fair, we did start off the quicker. We started off the quickest for sure. It didn't take us long to get an opportunity on goal. From a corner, short corner from Holmes to Redoni, plays it back to Holmes, whips a great delivery in, by the way, and Pearson obviously at the back post gets something on it. The keeper comes rushing out and is alert to it, and good save, to be fair, got a hand to it and was in his face very quickly. So to be fair, great start. Obviously, we create the opportunity. Pearson, brilliant. He's showing once again that he can score goals as well as defensively do very well too with set pieces, and we've seen that from him before. Before he got injured, he contributed goals. He's not only a solid defender, he can score goals as well for you, which is just an added bonus from that position, of course, as a defensive, as a defender. So yeah, great chance. Unlucky, keeper did well, and it was a good start. Obviously, Hull did respond. Great chance of their own. Great skill. Drive down the left-hand side. Finds a pass, edge of the area. Bilakapic with a great save down to his right-hand post. Absolutely outstanding. And and then again, this was the goal. We scored. Brilliant goal, from a corner once again. A great delivery in by Redoni. Quite a deep one, actually quite an in-swinger. Obviously, Lawton connects with it and heads towards the front post. And obviously, Pearson gets a boot on it to send it across the face of goal. And there is Heelick there and waiting, ready and waiting to head it in. Brilliant goal. And we go 1-0 up in 21 minutes. And brilliant opening start that we needed, definitely. Or was it? As the Hull obviously got another opportunity of our own doing, to be honest with you, messing around at the back. We ended up losing it. Obviously, Hull Pounds obviously feed it into Estepinian, strikes it beautifully, but again, Bilakapic with a superb save down to his left onto the post, and absolutely brilliant again. Like I say, and then obviously first half, that was pretty obviously we saw out till half time. Second half, Hull kept coming and had numerous chances. Mainly down to our lack of adventure and our persistence to sit so deep. And get everyone behind the ball for all of the second half, which was just an utter disgrace. I just think that, to get everyone behind the ball for the whole second half, come on. It's just an absolute, it's a disgrace, it really is. Pretty much reserved for most of the game when we scored, to be honest with you, arguably, not just the second half, but yeah, it's just not good enough. And then obviously the goal, obviously, last kick of the game, absolutely heartbreaking stuff, really, to be honest with you. So Hull obviously pump it long, gets headed on, drops Estepinian, of all people, the most clinical striker, in the league. And obviously he gets a strike, but he does deflect a fair lot of luck about it, and obviously it goes in. Last kick of the game. For me, okay, it was a draw. It finished a draw. But for me, this was a loss. There's no question. This was a loss in my eyes. Then there's no denying it. Because, you get what you deserve in football, And for all of the second half, it was far too negative. Too deep, defensive, whatever you want to say. It was ridiculous. We've seen it in the past. We gone ahead in the last 3 games and we've bottled the lead every single time by doing the exact same thing that what we did against Hull. So if Mark hasn't learned already that this clearly doesn't work, of scoring a goal and then just being happy with 1 goal, then I'm sorry, I don't get it. I'm completely bemused by it. And it's just not acceptable. It really isn't, because you've got to be ruthless in this management business, and if you aren't, then you're not gonna cut it. And I just can't. I'm speechless, to be honest. I really am speechless. Obviously, what I do want to mention, though, obviously, before I go into obviously player ratings and then my overall thoughts, ironically, this goal did come well into the 98th minute, despite only 6 minutes being added on, which for me, I have no idea where they got 6 minutes from in the first place. I'm not sure how they calculate added on, injury time, because I didn't see 6 minutes worth of injury time to be added on in the game anyway. So that was absolute nonsense. But yeah, of course, we've seen it this season time and time again. The officials have been absolutely shocking, and surprisingly always seem to get the worst ones. And pretty much sums it up, though. The linesman on our side couldn't even keep up with play. Is that the standard that we set in England, in terms of officials? Linesmen that can't even keep up with play, referees that are so incompetent. It's an absolute disgrace. It really is, because why is it that in England we can't seem to get officials that can actually do the job to the best of their abilities and to be actually good? Because you have to look at how you become a referee. For me in England, it must be too easy, because I don't see the training isn't up to standard. Clearly, the qualifications you need to get into this is clearly not up to standard either. You only have to look in Europe, and how good referees are in Europe to see where we're going wrong here. But yeah, obviously the EFL, they won't care about this, because obviously it's Huddersfield Town. We've always been undermined, so it doesn't really matter, does it? To be honest with you, but yeah, that's how it is. It's always been the case. But look, let's just put it out there. Yeah, I'm not blaming I'm not putting the blame at the referees, the officials at all in this game. For me, this game once again showed, the tactical naivety of Fotheringham. Bearing in mind, this is the third, like I say, the third game, not just 1, not just 2, 3 games where we've took the lead and we've ended up bottling it. And it makes me so unbelievably angry, because, you have, it's just the same things over and over again. The pattern is happening over and over. And, like I said, I will get into my overall thoughts later, but I'm gonna take a break from, obviously my thoughts of the game. I'm gonna obviously come back later on with my overall thoughts. But yeah, let's get into the player ratings. First of all, yeah. So obviously Nicholas Bilokapich, our young Australian goalkeeper, 22 years of age. We've seen it. He's come in and he really has impressed me, actually, to be honest with you. He really has. Obviously, he kept his players from the FA Cup side with Lee Nichols obviously injured. Fantastic strong save early on to keep the scores level. Kept Town ahead with a brilliant reflex save onto the post midway through the second half. Calm, composed on his championship debut. It's like he's kind of been in the side for weeks, and he's been a regular for weeks. It's just astounding. He was outstanding. He definitely deserved a clean sheet. Obviously, he didn't get it in the end, but I can't fault this performance. I really can't, because I've been quite surprised with how well he's done since he's come in. Obviously, I think the adrenaline of being in the first team, will be definitely there for him. Obviously, not expecting his chance, and he's fully taking his chance. So adrenaline is definitely running for him at the moment, but just a solid debut. It was just brilliant. For me, he has to get an 8. Brilliant stuff from him. So impressive. And obviously going into the back three, I keep saying back three, but technically it wasn't a back three. But anyway, obviously the defenders, Tom Lees, another very capable performance. Always reliable, isn't he? And never lets you down. Like I say, especially kind of important in the closing stage of the game as Hull pushed forward. So he was brilliant, really good. So for me, it's 7 for him. Obviously, Mikael Hellig scored, obviously, brilliant close range header midway through that first half. Read the game superbly, as always, to help keep the hosts at arm's length. But I think, let's be honest, he will be kicking himself about letting Estepinian get on to the equaliser. He will. And for me, Boyle was just as at fault with that goal as well. But for me, Healy, good performance. I'm going to give him a 7. Then obviously Matty Pearson, brilliant to see him make his first competitive appearance for 10 months. Brilliant. Obviously forced Ingram into that save early on. Very good save to just 3 minutes. And at the back, absolutely outstanding. A rock at the back. He playing 67 minutes, great. And he came through with flying colours. Just, I can't fault that performance from him. It's like he hadn't been injured. It was that solid from him. So for me, I'm giving him an 8 for that performance. Brilliant. Obviously Matt Lowton, made his league debut, obviously, for his last, in the cup against Preston. But then obviously he made his league debut for us in this one. Was head-to-head, obviously, with Hull's danger man, Oscar Estepinian, but more than held his own in this one, to be honest with you. Really good. Going forward as well, he's good as well, and I think that defensively he looks very good too. So I think he's done brilliant since he's come in. I kind of expected him to be able to settle down quickly, obviously knowing the league, and he's not disappointed me so far. He's been brilliant. For me, a 7, like I say. Jonathan Hogg, obviously, back in the side after obviously being rested as a precaution last week. Organised the side superbly once again, and it's one of those where he was a solid player for us. So for me, rating has to be 7. Scott High, like I said, a very surprising inclusion in the starting 11, after being recalled from Rotherham, like I said earlier. Barely put a pass astray, to be fair, and held the shape very well. Top work rate, as always. For me, give him a 7. I think he was great. And, of course, you do see him playing a bit part role, obviously with Kasumu. Expect Kasumu maybe, potentially to come back in at the weekend, but, if he did, if Scott High did start, I wouldn't be too surprised because he's a good player and he showed that in this game. Josh Ruffles obviously played his part in the build to go with a smart header across the box. Strong with his defensive work too. 7. Still, I'm not convinced about Ruffles, admittedly, to be honest with you. I just don't think that... I don't know, I just feel like we're still quite weak on that side. And that's no disrespect to Ruffles, but I just think sometimes he does get caught easily. He does, and... yeah, I'm just not sure at the moment with him. I certainly think we need to get another left wing back in, left back, whatever. From what I've seen, we need backup on that side. If not, somebody to come in and take Ruffles' place. Obviously, Jack Redone made some excellent runs up the right, impressive for the ball, and provide the initial set piece from obviously which we took the lead from. So for me, a 7 for Jack. I think he was good, and yeah, brilliant display. Holmes constantly offering for the ball and got in good position to receive it. 7 for me. It was okay, but like I said, kind of bit part kind of role at the moment with Holmes. I don't think he's really imposing himself as much as he should be doing, really. But yeah, it was okay. Like I say, Rhodes led the press well. Obviously, drew the whole defenders' way. He wanted them in a selfish manner. For me, a 6. I don't think he really was able to get in this game much, but he still put a shift in, and you still know if he does get a chance, he will score it. So that's the huge advantage you do have with Rhodes being in the side. So we're going to the substitutes now. Obviously, Martin Waghorn came on for his debut in the 56th minute for Redone. Bearing in mind he'd only, signed, being unveiled kind of 24 hours, less than 24 hours after, before, sorry. He worked hard off the ball, but had very little to do on it, really, to be honest with you. So, yeah, and like I say, in that second half, we were literally backs against the walls, defending. We're literally, defending in numbers and not showing any attacking intent. So, for me, that affects his score because he didn't actually get a chance to get in the game because, yeah, we just didn't show any adventure or any lack of intent of attacking threat to try and get another goal to finish the game. So for me, a 5 for him. Boyle obviously came on for Pearson in the 67th minute. Capable of playing for Pearson, winning his head as well. As Hull pushed forward with greater urgency. For me, a 7 for Boyle. It was okay, but like I say, he was at fault for the goal, I think, as well. A bit. But yeah, obviously, he's more or less going to be behind Pearson now. Obviously, Pearson is the number 1 ahead of him, obviously. So he won't be playing. He'll only have a bit part role to play for me unless Pearson does get injured again. That's the way I see it. Obviously, Kasumu came on for Rhodes. Played out of position on the right wing to bring solidity back to the flanks after going 5-3-2. That negatively affected our defensive work. So again, not a very smart move by Mark. Diarra obviously came on in the 76th minute. Obviously sent on to try and give Town something on the counter. After Holmes did pick up a slight knock, it seemed. Had some promising flashes actually. That just didn't quite result in anything. But he's always looking to try and make something happen. And that that play with no fear that youngsters have, and none of them came off. But at least he's trying, and at least he tried to try and make something happen. So yeah, that's my player ratings done. So on to the overall thoughts. Let's start with the positives then, because there were quite a few positives, like I say. Not enough positives, but they were positives, so that's something. A special mention, like I say, to our young goalkeeper, Nicholas Bilokapic. He was outstanding. He was really, really impressive. You know, he made some vital saves. Confident on the ball for me. Yeah, okay, a few stray passes from here, here and there, but that's understandable. Overall, I couldn't follow his performance. He was absolutely brilliant, and he deserved the clean sheet, like I say. That performance warranted the clean sheet, and he did everything he could to make sure he had that clean sheet. To be honest with you, and again, for the goal, he can't do anything about the goal. Very lucky deflection, and yeah, once it deflects, a big deflection like that takes it into the net, and I felt sorry for him really, because he did deserve to get the clean sheet. But for me, obviously, we still do need a goalkeeper, because especially with the situation we're in, I think experience may tell at times, and obviously the adrenaline of getting in and obviously playing, the games, obviously the next few games. But I don't know if maybe someone more experienced may potentially have to come in and help out too. But yeah, I felt absolutely brilliant. Really happy for Bilokapic. It's such a hard name to say actually, and of course I am trying my best to pronounce it well. But yeah, outstanding, and obviously I've kind of tracked his progress, to be fair, obviously through the academy setup. I've watched him, and yeah, he's a good solid keeper, and even though he did concede, I think his confidence will still be quite high. I think he can still be still be very happy with how he's performed, especially in his league debut, and at Preston, even Preston in the cup. He didn't do anything wrong. All the goals were not of his own doing. So yeah, brilliant to see, and obviously fully expect him to obviously start at the weekend, and yeah, see how he keep building on them performances. And you never know, he may just become obviously our number one until Nichols gets back. But I don't know, I just think that experience with the situation we're in may be a bit more, will be crucial here, because he may, it's just one of those, if somebody comes in the goalkeeping wise, and we get somebody that you say, okay, he's experienced and you should maybe come in, then fine. But if we go and get somebody that's not even anywhere near good enough, then I would be very disgruntled that Bilokapic being dropped, really, to be honest with you, because I don't think that's fair on him. And I think it'll just, so it depends who we get in. We definitely need a backup goalkeeper, because like I say, even if it's a backup goalkeeper, because obviously we've got young Jacob Chapman on the bench, and yeah, we need somebody else coming in before the end of the window, like I said. But yeah, nothing but plaudits for Bilokapic at the weekend, no doubt about that. Pearson back, definitely a huge boost for us, wasn't it? Obviously he made such a big difference too, and to say he's been out for 10 months and to come in, play 67 minutes and play like he did is incredible. It really is, and I'm so happy to see him back, and that was a big positive for us, to see him back in the starting lineup, and it'll certainly help us out defensively, and again, just keep chipping away, keep doing what he's done previously. And like I said earlier, we know that if we do get a set piece, then he's capable of scoring as well. So you've got the best of both worlds with Pearson, really. So yes, solid. And like I say, I expect him to start again on Saturday. Yeah, he pretty much be ready for full 90 minutes, to be fair. And then, yeah, the goal that we scored was good, you know, great set piece, you know, obviously took the lead, and yeah, it was a good, well-worked goal, to be honest with you. So that was another positive. Arguably, I have to put in Scott High in there as a positive, because I think he did do well to stay. That obviously he's come straight back in the team, and he did okay, to be fair. So for me, another positive really for me to see Scott High playing, you know, really well, to be honest with you. But yeah, as I'm looking at my notes here, I see a long list of negatives, I'm afraid. And, you know, first point I want to make here is, you know, there's a real pattern emerging here. You know, I go back to it. We get a lead, but then we just throw it away. You know, second, obviously, next point, yeah, Fotheringham, you know, he cost us yet again in this one, I'm afraid. You know, his mentality of getting the players to sit back after scoring one goal is absolutely ridiculous, and it's mind-boggling, if I'm honest with you. You know, once we take that lead, we've got to be going in for a second goal to finish that game off. And, you know, sitting on a one-goal lead does not work. And it's been proven that it doesn't work in the past 3 games. Like I say, I go back to including the whole game. We've lost the lead on 3 separate occasions, and that is not good enough. It isn't. You know, we've seen it time and time again. You know, the negative tactics that Fotheringham seems to feel like he needs to do and he wants to do. Negative tactics unfortunately don't get you anywhere in this game. It may work for you on the odd occasion, but negative tactics, you know, overall throughout the season does not get you anywhere. He's coarse after the game as well. I'm sorry, but it just beggars belief, this. You know, he came out after the game. He said, "Look, you know, obviously I'm proud of the effort, determination, and organisation of the team. We could have sealed the game with the first half chances." And obviously he mentioned Bilo Kapic's impressive debut in goal. Now, I'd love to ask him what he was proud of, because sitting back for 45 minutes is not acceptable. It's nonsense. Yes, we could have sealed the game in the first half, but that's irrelevant, that comment that he's just made, because why not try to get a second goal in the second half then, instead of sitting back and holding on what you've got? You know, there's no excuses. You know, if you look at how he sets up, we've practically got 5 defenders. I know it's a 3-4-2-1, but we've practically got 5 defenders the majority of the time, right? And especially in the second half in this game. We've got 4 central midfielders, and I'm afraid, like I said, I go back to it, negative football brings negative results. That is it. You know, ironically though, when he did come in, obviously when he first came in to the club, he promised full throttle football. Now, I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm still waiting to see this full throttle football you was talking about and these promises that you made. I'm still failing to see the majority of promises that you did make when you came in as well. So, yeah, very, 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 very strange to say that when he came and he's not actually gone through with what he's actually said. Like I say, in the second half, it was practically a back 7, to be honest with you, that second half. It really was. And we didn't even attempt to attack. For me, that is just utter shambolic. It's shocking tactics. It's shocking. You know, if you look at his record since he's come in, 4 wins in 16 now. I mean, you know, that's nowhere near good enough. Now, if he would have got 8 wins from 16, 9 wins, 10 wins, maybe I would be saying something new, because, you know, if you're asking him to come in and win 16 in a row, that's unrealistic. We know this. But to get only 4 wins from his 16 games, I'm sorry, but that is just not good enough. For me, I was never happy nor convinced with his appointment, when he came in, and it's proving so now. For me, he looks totally out of his depth. That's it. For me, I just say it how I see it, and this is how I'm seeing it. He looks out of his depth. We need a complete refresh from top to bottom of this football club. Let's be honest. Let's be real. It is just an utter shambles. It really is. And I really do worry for us in this moment in time. Yes, we've had a really good January with brilliant signings, full of experience at this level, which, had we deployed that back in the summer, then maybe we wouldn't be in this predicament in the first place, because we started the season with not enough players and not enough quality at this level for me. So why couldn't we have done all this back in the summer, and we wouldn't have been in this position, in my opinion? I think we would have. I'm not saying we would have been, up there at the top, but the reality is we would be in a lot better position had we have sorted out players that we actually needed in the summer, then, not in January. For me, I've just lost complete and utter faith of Mark Fotheringham, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I do. I have, because, and if you ask me now, do I trust him to get us out of this? I'd say no. Based on the past 3 games and the games prior to this, before, obviously there were 2 wins back to back. Okay, we won the games. They weren't pretty too much, but we won games, so that's fine. It is results based business kind of thing, but it's not really, for me. If we're looking at the last 3 games, that just, for me, that is just the proof in the pudding. And if we're being totally honest, this was never an appointment that we desired. And I think I speak for the majority of the Town fan base in this one. It didn't fill us with any excitement as such. It just looked like, a decision. We knew how big of this decision was when obviously we started with Scoville. Fair enough. Carlos left us a week before the season. We continued with somebody that was already in the club. Fine, I get it. Okay, that didn't work, but we knew when that didn't work, we had to get the right appointment. And when I say the right appointment, I say somebody with experience in management and knows what he's doing. That's the be-all and end-all of this. And he's ruthless. You have to be ruthless. So, yeah, it's just not good enough. We knew how big this was to get the right person in. For me, it's not worked. We're still in the relegation zone. We're still not any better off, for me, than what we was under, Schofield. And that's not because I have an agenda against Mark. It's just, I'm just seeing what I see. I'm just saying what I see, really. And I go back to it. I've never felt as disconnected with a manager at Town ever before. From my generation anyway. I've not. And I'm pretty sure if you ask any football fan, they'd say they like a connection with the manager. And like I say, it's completely. I don't just speak for myself here. I speak for the majority of the Town fan base again. There is so much disconnection between the fans and the man. There's no connection with him at all. And that, for me, is not really what you want in a football club. For me, you need everybody on side and everyone together, like we've had in the previous years, where the manager has had that relationship with the fans, and he has, he's just had that connection, because that's what we're about. This club is about togetherness. This club is about working hard for one another. This club is about working class people going to watch the team, obviously fans, and feeling that connection with the players and the manager. But we don't have that. And for me, he's certainly the most unlikable manager I've ever known. For me at Town in my generation too. But it's like he doesn't help himself though. It's like he wants to be the villain. I go back to it, going straight down the tunnel after games and not even acknowledging us fans who, pay our hard-earned money to go and support our team, and he can't even come over and acknowledge the fans. But yet in his press conferences he decides to say that, all these plaudits about the fans. It's nonsense. It's nonsense because he proves it, because he doesn't even bother with us. He doesn't come over to the fans. He doesn't do anything. Just goes straight down the tunnel and shows no appreciation at all. Like I said, he says the same excuse week in, week out. Tactically, it looks completely out of his depth, like I said earlier. That's just being really. It's not even being nasty. That it just looks like he's completely out of his depth in this role. He's getting tiresome, and it's got to the point now where even when his interviews after the game, if I've got the radio on or whatever on the way home from the game, I switch it off when he comes on because I know what's coming. It's so predictable. It's so delusional, in my opinion. He says the same things week in, out, the same old excuses, and it just doesn't cut with me anymore. And I'm sure it doesn't cut with anybody. It's just embarrassing. It really is. What I will say is the pressure is very much on him now because he's got more players than he's ever had since coming in. He's got more players available. He's got more players in terms of getting players in as well. That adds to the squad. There's no excuses. There is no excuses. Over Christmas, I really felt like this could be the turning point. With them back-to-back wins, like I said, over the festive period, and I thought, you know what? We can actually build on this and go. But how gullible was I? Because, it came crashing back down to earth on New Year's Day onwards, really. From New Year's Day onwards, it's been a complete disaster. Again, back to square one. And just a final point, obviously, appreciate that this has been quite a long, in-depth video, to be fair. Obviously, probably the longest I've kind of done in recent times, but I had a lot of things that I wanted to get off my chest today. I said that, and that is why, I've just probably been going on for ages, but I hope you've stuck with me, and I hope you still with me. But the final point I do want to make is when I look back from the start of the season, I find myself kind of questioning what the plan really was for us this season, or should I say, was there ever a plan? Because to me, there hasn't seemed to be a plan at all. What direction was the club wanting to go in? I can't even answer that either. I've got no answers for these questions. That's the worry. Any ambitious club, that wants to be successful, have things in place such as a plan and what direction are we going in? But we don't. It's a big concern. But yeah, for me, it's just a case of back to the drawing board, and I don't really necessarily know where we go from here. Okay, there's quite a number of clubs around us that are in turmoil, which arguably may help us in the end in terms of getting out of this. But I don't see, if we do stick with Fotheringham, I don't see it being a case of getting out of it because we've earned it. I think it's just because if other teams have not performed, then we'll get out of it. Maybe that's me hastily reacting after the weekend, and obviously, but I don't know. I just feel like that. But yeah, I'm bereaved. I mean, I do feel quite a bit better after obviously uploading a lot of things today, and obviously, there's no real hiding place for me. I've always said it how it is, and and yeah, that's the way I've always been. That's the way I believe you should be as a fan, and it is one of those. But that's kind of my thoughts. Like I said, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for your support as always. Like I said, please make sure you do smash the likes, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and comment your thoughts down below. What do you think? What are you making of this past few games? Let me know. Would you like to see obviously Mark Fotheringham leave now, and for us to get somebody else in? Because I know what answer I would be giving right now. The problem is though, can we afford to let go? Get rid of him now? I don't know. I don't think we do. That's the problem. But for me, I kind of feel like we need to get somebody else in, to be honest with you. That's how I see it now. We need to get another manager in, and go for somebody this time with experience. And yes, it's January. Yes, it's probably, we should have made this decision, before appointing Mark Fotheringham, but we didn't. So we need, if we don't pick up anything on Saturday, then the alarm bells are ringing already for me, because we have to win that game on Saturday. It's a massive, massive game. And I don't see how we do win games though, because we saw, like I said, we saw negative. It's so negative. There's no attacking intent at all majority of the time. You don't win games from sitting back and trying to play on the counter-attack, even though you don't really show adventure, especially in the second half at Hull. I don't exactly know what the plan was in that second half. What was we actually trying to do? But yeah, I could go on for hours and hours about this, and it's just not helping, is it? But like I say, I'll be back tomorrow for a transfer show, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you on the next one. And as always, no matter how glum it looks at the moment and how difficult it is always come on you Terriers and up the town. See you on the next one, everyone.